Alexandra Eala donates $1 million to Cebu Quake victims. Hints at purpose beyond tennis. When the earthquake struck Cebu just after dawn, the tremor lasted only 46 seconds. But for tens of thousands, it felt like forever. Homes crumbled, schools collapsed, and lives changed in an instant. By the time the shaking stopped, the silence that followed was filled with the sound of sirens, prayers, and heartbreak. 3 days later, as aid workers dug through the rubble and local hospitals overflowed, a single name began trending across social media platforms throughout the Philippines: Alexandra Eala. The 20-year-old tennis star, already known as a national treasure, had announced she was donating $1 million to help rebuild homes and schools in the quake-hit province. It wasn't just a donation, it was a statement. "Cebu gave me strength when I was a child," Eala wrote in a heartfelt Instagram post. "Now it's my turn to give something back." Within minutes, hashtags like #EalaForCebu and #SurfForHope flooded timelines, sparking a wave of gratitude and solidarity. But as the details emerged, one thing became clear. This was more than charity. It was purpose, from courts to compassion. For those who followed Alexandra Eala's journey, her humanitarian gesture didn't come as a surprise. The two-time WTA champion has long balanced her competitive fire with quiet acts of service. Born in Quezon City and raised in a tight-knit Filipino family, Eala grew up watching her parents, both professionals, use their careers as platforms to help others. Her mother, Riza, a former SEA game swimmer, often told her, "Excellence means nothing if it doesn't lift others." That lesson stayed with her, even as her tennis career took off. From her early days training at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca to her historic U.S. Open Junior doubles title, Eala remained grounded. She frequently spoke about her desire to represent not just herself but her country and its values. "I'm proud to carry the Philippine flag," she said after winning her first pro title in Thailand. "But I'm even prouder when I can make a difference off the court." This time, she made that difference in a way that stunned even her fans. The earthquake that shook a nation, the 7.1 magnitude quake that hit Cebu in late September 2025, was one of the strongest in recent memory. Entire neighborhoods in Mando and Talisi were flattened. Over 2,000 families lost their homes, and aftershocks continued to rattle the province for days. For Eala, the tragedy hit close to home. Cebu wasn't her birthplace, but it was where her grandmother lived for decades. It was also where she had played her first junior tournament at age 9, a memory she often described as the moment I realized tennis could be bigger than me. When news of the disaster reached her, Eala was in Wuhan, China, competing in the WTA 500 event. She had just advanced to the quarterfinals when she learned about the quake from her brother, Miko. "He called me at midnight," she recalled during a later press conference. He said, Cebu's in chaos. Grandma's safe, but so many others aren't." "I couldn't sleep that night." The next morning, she called her manager and instructed her team to set up a relief fund through the Eala Foundation, the nonprofit she quietly established in 2023. Within 48 hours, the foundation wired an initial $1 million, 58 million Cuban pesos, to the Philippine Red Cross and several Cebu-based organizations. A quiet announcement with a loud impact. Eala's announcement came not through a press release or flashy press conference, but through a simple social media post, a photo of her holding a Cebu flag with the caption, "We rise together." The authenticity resonated immediately. Philippine media picked up the story, and within hours, international outlets followed. CNN called her a beacon of hope amid tragedy. The BBC described her as the voice of a generation who balances sport with substance. In Manila, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. praised her act during a national address. Alexandra Eala reminds us that true greatness lies not in trophies, but in empathy. She represents the very best of the Filipino spirit. Meanwhile, Cebu Governor Gwendolyn Garcia called the donation transformational, confirming that the funds would go toward rebuilding 5 public schools and 3 community health centers in the hardest-hit towns. "She didn't just give money," Garcia said. "She gave us hope. Tennis can wait, people can't." What made the story even more remarkable was what Eala did next. After her semifinal exit in Wuhan, she withdrew from the next WTA event in Tokyo, citing personal reasons. But insiders later revealed she flew directly to Cebu to visit the victims. There were no photographers, no media entourage, just Alexandra, her parents, and a small team of volunteers. Local residents were stunned to see her walking barefoot in one of the makeshift shelters, handing out food packs and toys to children. "Tennis can wait," she told a local volunteer. "People can't." She spent 2 days helping distribute aid, comforting families, and visiting temporary classrooms. Witnesses said she sat quietly with a group of children drawing on pieces of cardboard salvaged from debris. One of them, an 8-year-old girl named Jessa, handed her a drawing of a tennis player holding the Philippine flag. Eala smiled, hugged her, and said, "That's beautiful. You'll be strong again, stronger than before." From generosity to legacy. According to reports from the Eala Foundation, the $1 million donation is part of a broader initiative called Project Rise, aimed at rebuilding schools and training centers across disaster-prone areas in the Philippines. The project will also provide sports scholarships for young athletes from affected communities. Eala explained her vision during a virtual press briefing from Cebu City Hall. "Tennis gave me a voice. Now I want to use that voice to serve others. My dream isn't just to win titles. It's to build something that lasts." Her words resonated far beyond the tennis world. Sports analysts began drawing comparisons to legends like Serena Williams, Novak Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal, all of whom used their platforms for social good. But for Eala, the motivation wasn't about legacy. It was about responsibility, a champion's true measure. At just 20, Alexandra Eala has already achieved milestones that most athletes can only dream of: WTA titles, Grand Slam appearances, national honors. Yet, when asked which moment she's proudest of, she doesn't mention trophies. Instead, she points to a group photo taken in a dusty Cebu playground, surrounded by smiling children holding rebuilt school kits, a temporary classroom standing behind them. "This," she says, "is what victory looks like." Epilogue beyond the lines. As the sun set over Cebu weeks after the quake, workers began raising the first beams of a new public school in Mando. On one of them, freshly painted in bold blue letters, were the words, "Gifted by Alexandra Eala, for every dream that survives the storm." A few miles away, Eala stood quietly watching, her cap pulled low, her hands dusty from the day's work. She wasn't there as a celebrity or champion. Just as Alex, a young woman trying to rebuild something bigger than herself. When asked by a local reporter what drives her to keep giving, she smiled softly. "Because I know what it feels like to be lifted, and now it's my turn to lift others." Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.